I want to talk about a guy that the national media definitely has started talking about a lot recently, but I don't think I've really talked about him that much. I think I've brushed off talking about him because of how good he is, because we know what he brings to the table for Georgia football. I think that I've spent a lot of the time, and Dean and Matt and myself, I think we've spent a lot of the time the last few weeks trying to figure out the pieces that we don't understand on Georgia's team and on Georgia's defense, that maybe we're overlooking a couple of these stars. Well, their mega star on defense is Jalen Carter, and I have not talked about him enough on this channel. Jalen Carter is one of the best players in college football. He is, I would say, one of the 5 best players in college football. I don't care if you disagree with me on that. He is one of the 5 best players in college football. It's not because of numbers. It's not because of size. It's not because of speed, whatever. It's because of the impact he has. His impact is unreal. If you watch his clips, his impact is unreal. He was probably the best player on Georgia's defense last year outside of Nakobe Dean, because I thought Nakobe Dean was kind of another tier last year compared to the rest of the guys. Generational defense that was full of studs and full of 3 first-round defensive linemen, and their best one was a sophomore. He wasn't going to the draft because he wasn't eligible. Jalen Carter, all right, he is. He's better than the other guys. He doesn't play Trayvon Walker's position, so it's different to compare. But he is better than Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt. When it comes to linemen and stuff, I don't like to dive into numbers too much. There's a few numbers I will talk about. Before that, Ryan Curley from Dog Post here, talking about Georgia's defensive line and specifically one of the best players in college football, Jalen Carter. Make sure you're checking out DAWGSTRUCTION, our insider book from last year. Make sure you're checking out our preview magazine. We're running out. All the links are down below. I actually have a story I wrote about Jalen Carter in the preview magazine if you want to check that out. Words by me. So, let's look at a couple of the numbers. All right, I don't love the number thing when you talk about Georgia defenders, but there's a couple of note. First and foremost, last year, better numbers than Jordan Davis. Better numbers than Devontae Wyatt. Whoa, more sacks, more tackles for loss. He's on the field about the same time, but he wasn't a starter. Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt were the starter. This is not a Devontae Wyatt and Jordan Davis hate video. Do not take this the wrong way. They are both first-round caliber guys, and they both went in the first round, and they got their paycheck, and they're now in the NFL. All right, not a lot of people make it to the NFL. They did, and they did it in the first round. All right, Jordan Davis is one of the most important figures in Georgia football history. I said that. It's true. He's one of the most beloved Georgia players in history. He is. Last year was special for him. Jalen Carter doesn't have that personality. The personality is part of what is part of why Jordan was so beloved and why he had that legendary moment against Charleston Southern, why there was the Heisman hype. Right? He had a beloved personality. He was a damn good dog. He was. Jalen Carter doesn't have that outgoing personality. All right. He's got the Breadman tattoo. He is Breadman Jalen. But he's quiet, all right? We've only ever talked to him once in a press conference, and he was nervous. He was sweating, all right? I don't know how much of the sweat was from practice and how much of it was from nerves, but I tell you what, practice had ended a little while before that. So I would say some of that was nerves. The numbers, Jalen Carter. More sacks, more tackles for loss than Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt. So numbers-wise, yeah, he was better than them. He doesn't have the total tackles. There were so many guys flying around Georgia's defense last year. Those linebackers ate up. The linebackers and Quay Walker, the 3 NFL linebackers and Lewis Cine, my apologies, were the top 4 tacklers on Georgia's team. So, when you say a defensive lineman is one of the best players in college football, the 2 that come to mind the most from the last 12-ish, 13 years is Quinn Williams from Alabama in 2018 and Ndamukong Suh from Nebraska in 2009. Those are probably the 2 best college defensive tackles of the last 15 years. Ndamukong Suh was a Heisman contender. Quinn Williams was I think he's 6th or 7th, and he was top 10 in Heisman voting. So for defense tackle, that's phenomenal. Those guys had crazy numbers, all right, because they were far and away better. Like, Georgia has such a good defense at this point that Jalen Carter, one, is just not on the field that much, so he doesn't get those numbers, and he's sharing with all these other stars. And so, yeah, maybe the argument is, there is always an argument, well, maybe by themselves they're not that good. Well, Quinn Williams, that defense, 2018 Bama defense was not close to Georgia's defense, and obviously the 2009 Nebraska, we're talking about 2009 Big Ten and Nebraska, no, not even close. So they're the only star in their defense. Jalen Carter's not the only star in Georgia's defense, so he's not going to have those numbers. Okay, whatever. This is a pro Jalen Carter video, but I'm really just explaining things. I'm telling the truth here. His impact is real, all right? He is a reason why some of those other sacks and tackles for loss happen. The quarterback hurries, things like that. He is a disruptor in the backfield. He is, I think, the strongest player on Georgia's team. If you ask those guys, Jordan Davis, I think, said that a year ago. So he's definitely one of the strongest players in the country. He's fast. He's physical. He's got a good size, 6'3". And he's a team player. Special teams. Blocking. He had multiple blocked field goals last year. One in the national championship game. That was very, very important. Also in the national championship game, he was on offense, and he was the lead blocker for Zamir White. When Zamir White scored the first touchdown in the national championship game. Let's talk about impact here. Jalen Carter will play wherever, all right? Punt block, field goal block. He's playing in the goal line on offense, defense. He's already one of the best defenders in college football. He's a top 5 player in college football. The other guys that pop into my head when we talk about that, Bryce Young is in there. He is. He's a Heisman quarterback, and he is the real deal. Will Anderson's in there. I like C.J. Stroud. I like Jackson Smith and Jigba. They're really good. I don't know if they're top 5. They're close. Those are some of the other names that pop in there for sure. So, yeah, I do think he's one of the 5 best players in college football. And we haven't talked about him that much. I haven't. Because I've swept it under the rug a little bit because we know what we have from Jalen Carter. I almost called him Jordan Davis. Not to mention, the 88 is really freaking cool. When Leonard Floyd wore 84 at Georgia, I thought that was sick. He topped it. He topped it with the 88 on defensive line. And that's where I'll end this video. Jalen Carter, one of the 5 best players in college football. All of our links down below. And make sure you're checking out Dog Post on all your social channels. See you there.